Good morning, and thank you all for being here today for this incredible breakfast. I hope everyone's having a great morning so far. You're getting ready for some snow and potentially ice. It's definitely chilly out there. My name is Diana Watson. I'm the anchor of the 10 o'clock news. That's why I'm a little trying to wake up this morning. We had football on last night, so I got home around 1 a.m. So kind of doing this with a little bit of coffee this morning. But I would not miss being here to represent and honor a Child's Haven. What an incredible place, and I know all of you feel very strongly about the work that happens through a Child's Haven each and every day in our community. And this is one of my favorite events of the year, this breakfast, to be part of it, to be here to talk about the incredible work that goes on. This year, I'm the chair of the United Way of Greenville County campaign, and I have to tell you, a Child's Haven has been near and dear to my heart for many, many years. I've had the opportunity as a journalist to go over and do several stories. I've had the opportunity to take tours and had the chance to visit just after the new location opened on White Horse Road years ago. So that was an incredible experience. And then just recently had the chance to do a story on an incredible couple, the Lehmans, who are here this morning and are amazing quilters and have done such great work at a Child's Haven. My mom and my husband had the chance on Hog Day this year to clean toys there and spent part of the day there this year. And I also had the opportunity this year to go over to take a tour as visiting all of the agencies of the United Way. I went through and had the chance to learn much more about the healthy foods that are being served there, about the music program going on there, and to meet the children. And it impacts not only the children who go through and take their classes there, but also the entire family. And to me, that's the real beauty of this is it's one thing to say, okay, we're going to help the child, and that is absolutely incredible and important. But it's also the fact that a Child's Haven really works holistically with the entire family. And I know it's changing lives each and every day, and we've seen this happen over the years. And that's thanks in such large part to the founder, Eva P. Hunt. And she passed away recently. Her vision, though, of a Child's Haven continues to live on day in and day out. You can feel her presence in the work that continues to be done. So we do really, throughout the program today, want to honor her memory, her legacy, and all of the work that continues to happen through a Child's Haven. We do have a number of sponsors this morning. I want to recognize some of them, including our presenting sponsor today, John I. Smith Charities. Also our Lifting Lives sponsor, Mary Lou and Pat Hartness, who are here this morning. Thank you so much. And to Ellis Pierce as well. Our Advancing Pathways sponsors include the Greenville Health System, Industrial Fire Systems, Palmetto Technology Group, and Sea Level Systems as well. Our Being Visionary partners and sponsors, including Armada Analytics, BMW Manufacturing, Doherty and Manning, Ebenezer United Methodist Church, let's hear it from them over here, Hubble Lighting, and let's see, who else? We have On Point, CFO and Controller Services, Piedmont Natural Gas, Publix Charities, Resurgent, and then also Dana and Joe Thomason. So let's hear it for all of them. Thank you to those sponsors. And if you'll look also inside your pamphlet there, your flyer for this morning's program, you'll see also many other sponsors, the Empowering Families sponsors and the Embracing Children sponsors in the program there. Very, very long list. And I'll tell you, an event like this and really the work of a Child's Haven couldn't happen without sponsors like this and also all of the support of everyone in this room who really make that work incredibly important and possible throughout the course of the year. To meet those children, to see their smiling faces, to see the progress they make, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what brings me here this morning, and that's why a Child's Haven is so near and dear to my heart. And I know you'll be excited to hear much more about the work that continues to happen every day. Please welcome right now on stage Caroline Caldwell Richmond. She's going to deliver the invocation this morning, and we thank her for being here as well. Enjoy your breakfast, and thank you so much.
Morning. It is so great to see so many people for such a awesome cause. Return on investment is the theme. And as I contemplate that phrase, I think about the positioning one must be in to be an investor. A person at the forefront, a catalyst, a person who believes change can happen, a person who believes that a single effort can make an impact. The faith in knowing that what is sowed will be reaped. Return on investment, that's what a child's haven does. Is a child's haven takes children and families who have gaps and have broken places, and they restore them. They restore them. And each of us has that same ability to be able to engage in what I like to call investor behavior. So what does that look like? We can cultivate our crafts, our gifts. We can water them with love and tender care, and we can watch it grow. And the important thing is to remember to share our gifts with others. We can keep expecting and believing that our gifts will bear fruit and that we will be of service to others. We can declare that the good that we do will be harvested for those who are in need. We can always be kind. We never know what people are going through. We can give grace, we can give mercy, because there may come a day when we are in need of the same. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we give thanks today. We ask that our gifts stand in front of us, and that we're able to invest and use our gifts where they will do the most good. We ask for a blessing on everyone here. We ask for a blessing on the food that we're receiving. And Lord God, we ask for a special blessing on those in Child's Haven and those who do the work, that they will continue to do good. Amen.
Whoa. Good morning. Wow. When I walked in last night and saw this many tables, I'm like in awe. But thank you so much. Thank you, Caroline, for that wonderful, warm blessing. That was really beautiful. So I have the privilege of leading this great organization. And on behalf of a Child's Haven Board of Directors and staff, we are honored and humbled that you have joined us this early in the morning. And speaking of those folks, I would be remiss if I didn't thank our wonderful, amazing staff team and Board of Directors. We could not be here without the work that you do and those of you that served before. My objective this morning is to share how a Child's Haven adds value, fulfills current needs, and plans for future growth. So our greatest value is our ability to meet the changing needs of young children. A Child's Haven partners with the recently formed South Carolina Infant Early Childhood Mental Health Association to ensure that our state has a quality workforce to address the needs of our youngest citizens. 26 years ago, we opened our doors serving 10 abused and neglected children. Today, while serving these children hasn't changed, the intensity of treatment has increased. Our families all have children with severe developmental delays. They live in most, if not all, live in high poverty, and very likely they themselves as children experience abuse and neglect themselves. Without early diagnosis and treatment, Children with mental health challenges often escalate to problems at home, in school, and in their ability to form friendships. Things that could very likely continue through adulthood. Recently, local media highlighted an increase in school-age mental health issues, and then the next week labeled Greenville County as a child care desert. Who would have thought? That means that there are not enough child care slots to accommodate the growing economic need. That's just slots. That's not quality, but just slots. At a Child's Haven, we are seeing the results of that. 90% of our current population at Child's Haven has been expelled from child care. Likely, if I were to pull the stats today, it's 100%. A Child's Haven is one of only 2 therapeutic child care programs in the state, the other being Aiken. Infant and early childhood mental health prioritization sets the stage for future success. That's a true value. Fulfillment. A Child's Haven is a trauma therapy center within a child care facility, so children can have a safe and fun place to receive the help they and their families need to be successful in life. Qualified professionals are delivering mental health treatment, group, individual, and family therapy every day. Notable accomplishments this year is a continued emphasis of data to drive outcomes. We added a new classroom this year, and our infant center is filled to capacity, providing treatment at the earliest possible time. And 328 families receive family therapy through our home visitation program. Complementing this work with the support of a young man, Brooks O'Hanlon, we've created a parent-child interaction garden to maximize love and minimize stress, and of course, to build healthy lifestyles. Growth. With seed funds from the Duke Endowment, we will establish an evidence-based program that can be replicated throughout the Carolinas. This model includes the treatment we currently provide, but enhanced with a formalized strategy to transition children back to a traditional school. In 2019, we will explore opportunities to create new private therapy rooms to better meet the mental health needs of our youngest children. Value, fulfillment, growth. 26 years ago, Eva P. Hunt, she acted on a vision. Her light continues to shine on the young children of Greenville County. Thank you for helping us to achieve our goals. Please join me in welcoming Tanya Communis, our Senior Director of Program and Strategy, to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanya. Thank you, Lori, by the way. I am honored and really thrilled to be here, to have the opportunity to talk with you a little bit about my role at a Child's Haven. I'm the Senior Director of Program and Strategy, and I get to lead and the amazing group of individuals who provide services to the families. You've just heard from Lori about the big picture goals of our program. My role is to develop the strategy and put the action into place to achieve those goals. You may or may not find this profound, but to get to a destination, you need to know where you're starting from. It very much speaks to the role, the purpose of my role. For us, our starting destination and our starting points are how effective we are at achieving the outcomes that we want to see for our families as a result of going through our program. To know our level of effectiveness, we have to have a means of quantifying our work so that we can determine how effective we are and where we need to go. Over the past year, my role focused on developing a continuous quality improvement system, which is a term that data enthusiasts, AKA data nerds like myself, use to collect, analyze, report, and most importantly, utilize data on a very frequent basis to measure our performance and compare our actual results to our desired results, our starting point to our destination. This practice has changed the way that we do business at the Child's Haven. We now are able to intentionally work towards improvements to result in better outcomes for families. I could happily talk to you for hours about data and the system that we have in place, but for the sake of time, I'm only going to share 3 things today with you. The first one is tools for success. We have significantly strengthened our ability to track and monitor a client's progress throughout enrollment in our program, from the beginning of treatment to the end of treatment. This information serves as a tool that the service providers can use to focus their efforts on providing interventions that address specific areas. Number 2, transparency and engagement. We place high priority on sharing what we do, how we do it, and how well we do it with all the individuals like yourselves who have stake in our organization, so they can appreciate how their investment of time, talent, and treasure is positively impacting the lives of the families we serve. You will see in the annual report, which is on your tables, that there is a section that is dedicated to providing you with the outcomes and indicators of our families. I hope that you will look at this, and if you have questions or want to learn more about the quality improvement process, I would gladly love to speak with you. And thirdly, long-term impact. As part of our evolution and growth, our focus has expanded to incorporate a heightened focus on the caregiver, along with the child's success. By shaping our program model focus on outcomes for the entire family unit, we are positioning our program service to achieve long-term impact by breaking cycles of multi-generational family violence, low education, poverty, and unaddressed mental health issues that are prevalent in our community. I'm proud to be part of an organization that values the quality of services that we provide and strives to deliver on a promise that we made to our community, to all of you. I want to recognize Laurie for her foresight to create a space within our organization for quality improvement, as well as our team for investing their time and talent to providing services to families with integrity, excellence, and purpose. Lastly, I'd like to thank all of you for making the time out of your day to come support and learn about our mission. Now I'm going to introduce a very special video that highlights how our program work is brought to life through the eyes of one of the families that we serve. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was awesome. Good morning. I'm Bob Morris. I'm the president of the Community Foundation of Greenville, and it's my privilege this morning to introduce my friend Dick Wilkerson. When I moved to Greenville, I was fully immersed in early childhood learning and health. My children were 1, 4, and 7, so I kind of knew what was going on there. It was really important to me. But over time, I had to learn from the other professionals about what high-quality, effective care meant, what interventions could be successful, and I turned to Lori and Frank Holloman and Susan Shaw to learn those things, and they were excellent teachers. Okay, I want to tell you 3 things about Dick Wilkerson. First, he's the real deal, okay? He was the CEO of a multinational company with thousands of employees. He knows a little bit about leadership. The other CEO that I knew during my professional career, I was in banking for many years, and in Charlotte, my bank was bought by Mr. McCall's bank. So Hugh McCall was the other person I know personally as a CEO, drastically different style than Dick's. Dick's style is collaborative, analytical, consensus-driven. Mr. McCall is a Marine that believes in chain of command. And for any of my friends from Charlotte, I know Phil Redmond's here, Mr. McCall used to give his outstanding employees, his senior managers, a crystal hand grenade. So I don't think, Dick usually gives you a pat on the back, pulls you aside and says, you know, if I had this experience when I worked and this is what I did, you might consider something like what I did in this situation. One thing that Mr. McCall and Dick and many CEOs across the country agree on is that you cannot invest too much and too often in early childhood. It needs to be the focus of our investments, and they agreed on that. Dick also is authentic, and what I mean by that is Dick had an experience in high school where he lost a scholarship for college because of an unexpected health issue. And when he lost that scholarship, he had to work when he's a student at Duke in the dining room at Duke. And some, not all, but some of the fellow Duke students treated Dick very differently because he worked in the cafeteria. And now Dick is from a military family. It's a very egalitarian family. You know, if you're in the military, the most important thing is, will you do what you need to do as part of this unit? But that really seared his commitment to fairness, equity, and inclusion. And when you are on the board with Dick, when he chairs your board, when you're on a working team with him, equity, inclusion, and fairness really drives almost every decision you make when you work with Dick. And the third thing I'll say about Dick is that Dick is a flawed person. And what I mean, you know, this is the time of year that we're shopping for jewelry for our family members. And you know, the most expensive jewelry always has flaws in it, right? So Dick, his commitment to fairness and inclusion is top of the list for him. However, he has no problem with Duke having 3 of last year's top 5 players and then already signing next year's top player. For him, that just makes sense. So in spite of all those things, we'd love to hear Dick and have his insights on the importance of investing in early care and wellness for children.
Thank you. What's unfair about having the top basketball team? It's not unfair. I root for Clemson in football. My wife and I have this agreement that we fly a Clemson flag in front of our house during football season, we fly a Duke flag in front of our house during basketball season, and we fly an American flag all the rest of the time. It's a good way to do it. I have a confession to make. I absolutely hate public speaking. I always have. I've been called on to do it routinely. I never have gotten to the point where I enjoy it. But when Lori Rovin and Jamie Moon came to see me and asked me to speak this morning, they asked me to speak about a topic that I have deep passion for. And I immediately said yes. Now, my wife will tell you I've threatened to quit public speaking routinely, but I was overwhelmed by the opportunity to talk to you today about early childhood investment. To speak about early childhood investment, how many accountants do we have in the room? Show of hands. You're going to be disappointed. I don't have any spreadsheets. Not going to do that. What I'd like to do is take you on my own personal journey that generated this passion that I have. And I'd like to start by taking you back to June 15th, 2009. We'll make this read like a Harvard Business School case study. Dick Wilkerson, the chairman and president of Michelin North America, was sitting in his office. It was 5 o'clock in the evening. His feet were on his desk. He was looking out his window as traffic backed up on Interstate 85. It's a true story. Two emotions were flowing through me at that time. One was elation and satisfaction. The second was shock and depression. The elation and satisfaction came from the fact that Michelin North America had weathered the storm of the Great Recession. It didn't come without sacrifice. There was tremendous sacrifice. But we didn't lay off a single person, not one. Our people sacrificed by working reduced hours in our plants. We didn't lay off anybody, but when you have a 20% cut in hours, it means a 20% cut in pay, and it hurts. But people saw this as an investment and a commitment to our company. And we returned to profitability far sooner than any company around us because of their commitment. And the first thing we did with that profit happened on June 12th, the Friday before I was sitting in my office, when we distributed checks to every supervisor in the company to give individually to each employee who had sacrificed compensation equivalent to roughly 95% of what they had lost. It was the best day of my life. I mean, I'm serious. I still get choked up thinking about it. It made a difference. It made a difference for our people. So why was I shocked and depressed at the same time? Well, that Monday morning, I had met with the head of human resources in our company, and he came in and he said, "We're having trouble finding people qualified to hire for our plants." Now, we're in the middle of the recession. Unemployment's high, and we can't find people to hire that meet our qualifications. Why? What do you do when you need to find an answer? You Google it, right? And I did. I went online and Googled, and here's why I was depressed. Ready, willing, and unable to serve. A major study conducted by the Defense Department of the United States that concluded that 75% of people in this country between the ages of 17 and 24 were not qualified to volunteer for the United States military. Think about that. 75%. 3 out of 4 could not volunteer. Why? 3 major reasons. Number 1, no high school diploma or equivalency. Number 2, health problems led by obesity. And number 3, a criminal record, oftentimes something as simple as marijuana use. 3 disqualifiers meant that 75% of our young people were not qualified to join the U.S. military, and this report described that as a national security crisis. All of a sudden, it became clear to me why Michelin was having trouble hiring. If the military couldn't get volunteers that were qualified, then certainly we were going to have similar difficulty. Think about it. 3 out of 4. What was their conclusion? What was their diagnosis? It's the same diagnosis we face right now when we have 71% not qualified and 73% in South Carolina. And that diagnosis is the most proven way, cost-effective, to change this outcome is early childhood investment. The most proven way, the most cost-effective way to change the outcome is early childhood investment. And as I was sitting there thinking about this, I said, I want to reflect on my own childhood. What happened to get me where I was? And I invite you to take this journey too as I talk about my childhood. Bob mentioned I was born into a military family. In fact, my father graduated from Erskine College in summer of 1941, right before Pearl Harbor. When Pearl Harbor came, even though he had a college degree, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. I asked him why he didn't go to OCS. He said, all I cared about was defending my country. 37 years later, he retired. He fought at Guadalcanal in World War II. He fought at the Chosin Basin, company commander in Korea. He commanded the 1st Marine Regiment in Vietnam. He is one of the few people left in the United States who can wear a ball cap that says World War II, Korea, Vietnam veteran. When he retired, he was the commanding general of Fleet Marine Forces Pacific. But I'm not going to talk about him today. I talk about him often. He is my hero. I'm going to talk about my mom. I went back and I thought about 3 different events in my early childhood that impacted me. The first one was a recognition that when I was young, my mother always read to me. A simple thing, reading. She also played forever on this old record player, Peter and the Wolf. Have y'all ever heard that? I mean, it had a little book that went with it, and the oboes were the hunters or whatever. All the time playing Peter and the Wolf. But it was a gift to me to prepare me, to stimulate my brain. Des Kelly, who's here, will tell you those years are critical, 0 to 5, all right? She was there for that. But during my 1st grade, she had concluded that I was, how to put it, an unenthusiastic learner. How did she reach that conclusion? Well, there were 2 reasons. One was every time I was home, I didn't do any voluntary reading. I didn't do anything except play and goof around. And when I was bored, I'd come up to her and say, what can I do? What can I do? And she'd suggest, go read. I don't want to read, Mom. What can I do? And then she would say, mildew. Don't ever say that to your kids. Don't do that. It just frustrated me no end. So she had reached a conclusion that I wasn't a voluntary reader. And then, although my academic grades were good in the 1st grade, elementary school, come on, there was one particular area that concerned her and my father. It was a C in comportment. How many of you have been a teacher or are a teacher? Show of hands. First of all, thank you. Thank you. The military protects our democracy externally. Education protects us internally. So thank you to those of you who are teachers. My parents were concerned about my comportment, and as much as I tried to tell them it was because my teachers lacked a certain sense of humor, they didn't agree to that, and so I had to conform. But after 1st grade, my mom had concluded that I needed an intervention, and that intervention was returning to her hometown in Pocatello, Idaho, and sending me to spend every other day with one of her elementary school teachers from when she was young. And I remember her to this day. Her name was Mrs. Clear. Mrs. Clear was a wonderful woman, although there was a little diabolical side to her. Each day she would start, and typically we'd play a board game. Usually it was Clue. And Mrs. Clear would have us play Clue. There were 4 or 5 of us there, but she wanted us to explain why Colonel Mustard did it in the study with a lead pipe. She wanted us to think and talk about what was our reasoning. That wasn't diabolical. What was diabolical is in the afternoon she would take out The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, and she would read 1 chapter. reading one chapter of the Jungle Book to children and closing it and saying, "See you Wednesday," is like waiting to 2019 for the next episode of Game of Thrones, okay? It hooked me because the Jungle Book stimulated imagination. It stimulated all sorts of thoughts, and in fact, I found that we had a copy at home, and I started reading it on my own. And it changed my life. It changed reading into an adventure. It changed my thirst for knowledge. So I read Rikki Tikki Tavi, I read Treasure Island, I read all the Tom Swift books that got me interested in engineering. It went on, and it changed my life. The third event in my childhood that impacted me occurred later. Was when the 6th and 7th grade, my father was stationed at Pearl Harbor, and my parents were deeply concerned about the school, the public school that I was assigned to. And I went to public school my entire life except for 6th and 7th grade. And in the 6th and 7th grade, my parents concluded that I needed to go to Iolani. Anybody heard of Iolani? It's a private Episcopal school for boys in downtown Honolulu. So I rode the bus every morning to Iolani, got off, and I was the only Caucasian in my class. Everyone else was Oriental, Polynesian, Pacific Islander. They all lived in Honolulu. They ate different food. They talked differently than me. The first 6 months they called me Te Kainhaole Punk, which is Hawaiian for white punk, okay? And it wasn't an academic challenge. It was a small component of the challenges that Laurie talked about that children face. How do you feel when you're different and you're alone? How do you feel when you're excluded? You're omitted from what's going on. And I would come home and I'd have basically 3 emotions when I came home. One was everything went okay. One was anger that I had been omitted and slighted. And my mother would meet me and read my expression, and she'd say, "You're angry, and I know you are. Go pound on that pillow and get that negative energy out of you." And then she would come back and say, "Dick, you're strong. You came from Pioneer Stock in Idaho. Get 100 in everything." And I'd come home sometimes and I'd be depressed. I'd be sad that I'd been left out. And she'd say, "I know you're hurting." And then there was that theme. But remember, be strong. You came from Pioneer Stock. Get 100 in everything. It was her way of supporting. It's her way of saying to her children, "I love you and I'm with you." That was my journey. Those are the 3 examples in my childhood of what impacted me, the special people. Think about your own experiences. The conclusion of our people who did the study is still accurate. Experiences like mine in early childhood form who we are. After thinking about my own experience, I had 2 questions, and they're the same question: what if? What if my mother had not read to me when I was a child? What if, in fact, Mrs. Clear had never been a part of my life? What if my mother and my family had not been there to support me when I felt alone? And then I turned the question around and said, what if we could provide every child someone to read when they're young? What if we could provide every child an experience, even though it's a short 3-month experience that changed my life? What if we could provide everybody who's a young person a Mrs. Clear to touch their lives? What if we could teach parents to understand and support and inspire their children? And the answer to that was in the report. It was in the report of Ready, Willing, but Unable to Serve. The studies show that quality early education and early focus on development increases graduation rates at high school by as much as 44%. Child parent centers like a Child's Haven, at-risk children left out of quality early education, 70% more likely to commit violent crimes. Think about that. This is not insignificant. 70% more. In fact, here's a study done by the Perry Preschool. And in that study, they followed children for years and found out this is at-risk children, 7% who went to the Perry Preschool experience were chronic criminals. Similar children who didn't go to the Perry Preschool program, 35% chronic crime. 5 times as much as those children who went to preschool programs for at-risk children, for people who have development issues, who have financial challenges. It cut crime by 500%. What's the cost of failure? Individual children who grow up, drop out of school, abuse drugs, get into crime, cost society, all of us, $2.5 million per person. That's not chump change. That's a lot of money. Child's Haven has a special role in our community in changing that cycle. A Child's Haven focuses on the child and the parents. It's children who have special risks, developmental challenges, financial challenges in the home. Parents who want to be good parents but are not sure how. And it makes a difference, and you saw in the video we saw before Bob spoke, you saw the difference it can make in someone's life. It pays for itself. A recent RAND study showed well-designed early childhood interventions show a return to society ranging between $1.80 to $17.70 per dollar invested. I made multiple million-dollar decisions at Michelin with less compelling information than this. If we really want to reduce crime in our community, invest in early childhood development. If we want to reduce prison expenses, invest in early childhood education. If we want to reduce the cost of unemployment, invest in early childhood development. If we want to increase graduation rates in high school, invest in early childhood development. If we want people to be qualified to serve in our military, invest in early childhood development. If I want people to be employed at Michelin in high-tech jobs, invest in early childhood development. As I have gotten older, I have grown less patient and more frustrated with this topic. Sometimes people have come to me and said, I really care about these children. I have tears in my eyes about these children. Well, folks, the time for crying is passing. It's the time for trying for our children. We need to do it. When I think about myself, my challenge to myself is, what do I do? It's a huge problem. What can I do to make a difference? And I have 3 things I've set for my goals. And I encourage you to claim one of them at least for you. I can volunteer. I can serve on boards. I can read to children. You can too. Ask Lori what she needs. Ask Jamie Moon at Institute for Child Success. Ask Megan what United Way can do for early childhood investment. There are all sorts of things we can do, so volunteer. The second thing we can do is ask our government officials, our leaders in our communities, in our state, in our federal government, do you know the return on investment for early childhood? If they don't know, get them the information. If they do know, ask them what they're doing with it. What are we doing to change where we are now? And the third thing we can do is invest and support a Child's Haven. It's getting results today right in this community. Last night, I was sitting at my desk. Fortunately, it no longer overlooks Interstate 85. And I was thinking about what was I going to say today? And I reflected once again on my mother and Mrs. Clear and what they did in changing the trajectory of my life. And I took out my checkbook and I wrote this check to a Child's Haven. And I did something I never do. I filled out the bottom left-hand corner, the purpose of the check. Do you ever do that? On this check, it says, for Mom and Mrs. Clear. Think about the people who've impacted your life. Think about the children who are served by a Child's Haven. I ask you to honor them by joining me in supporting the work of a Child's Haven. It's a great investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. That message was flawless. Passion, purpose, and a partnership are 3 roles to describe my role at a Child's Haven. My name is Latrice Williams, and I am a licensed family support counselor. My role is to use my passion to provide intense, and let me tell you, intense services to these little children and their families. I make it a daily priority to partner with families by meeting them where they are. Let me take the time to tell you about a child who will forever be in my heart. A 4-year-old and his grandmother walked into a Child's Haven feeling afraid, scared, broken, and defeated. This 4-year-old had been in a number of foster care placements. He was kicked out of several daycares, and yes, you can get kicked out of a typical daycare setting. He had witnessed domestic violence. He was a victim of abuse and neglect, and unfortunately, this list continues. This little boy was angry, and honestly, he had every right to be. Myself, along with the team at a Child's Haven, worked to nurture, provide skills, increase parent-child interaction, and overall, we worked really hard to improve the family's overall mental well-being. This little 4-year-old, when he discharged, he was no longer that angry kid that everybody talked about. He was smiling, and I'm sure his smile would have lit up this room today. My role is to simply lift the lives of children and their families. Once again, this is done with purpose, passion, and a partnership. The next video you are about to view is of a family that I had the honor to work with. They allowed myself and the members of a Child Haven to join their support system. Not one family is the same, not one child is the same, and every story is different. But tomorrow's future, it begins today. Thank you.
Wow. Who is your Mrs. Clear? Latrice, and soon you'll hear from Noe. They're just 2 Coretta, you saw on the video. There are 54 others over back at A Child's Haven. And I'd like to call Miss Marion Hunt to the stage to join me as we prepare to present the Eva P. Hunt Visionary Award that could she imagine in her wildest dreams 26 years ago that all of you would be sitting in a room at 7 a.m. in the morning fulfilling her dream. So this award was created to honor Miss Eva's legacy and her vision and her compassion and love for the care and well-being of children. I mean, that's it. I mean, the question, what if? Miss Eva started this in her 60s. I'm approaching that, and I wonder, well, gosh, what can I do? What's going to be around when I'm 90? And yes, I hope I'm here when I'm 90. But, you know, that just shows that each of us can do something to make a difference in someone else's lives. In our case, my case, I truly believe it starts with that young child and family, and so did Miss Eva P. Hunt. So this award is always presented, and in your program you can see the list of our past recipients. Many of them are here today. Last year's award winner was Miss Vicki Davis. She's sitting over there, and thank you. She's leaving here today to go pick up a Target run for our parent store. And so thank you for doing that, along with her daughter, Miss Lisa, does that every other week. But this award is given to an individual that does something that embodies the vision and passion of Miss Eva P. Hunt. This year, Child's Haven has done something a little bit different. We chose a couple. We couldn't decide between the two. Should be this one, should be that one. And you know what? We chose a couple that for the last 12 years, maybe 13 now, has, I think all they do is eat, sleep, and make quilts for A Child's Haven. It is my pleasure to present the 2019 Eva P. Hunt Visionary Award to Miss Joanne and Ken Lehman. Please join us to this stage. While they're walking up, these two embody what United Way and Ted Hendry shared with me back in the days when we first started the Community Impact Center. Use data, drive decisions. Well, when I first met Ken Lehman, he pulled out a piece of paper in his pocket, and it's in last year's annual impact report. You can look it up. It literally says how much yarn, how much fabric, how many hours for 12 years of making quilts. So it's now 13. So thank you, Mr. Ken, Miss Joanne, for this. We actually have something to present to you. And can you zoom in to see this? Is it? So this is one of the quilts that these two amazing people, and Diana did a news story on them this past fall. It's on our website under resources. You can see it. And this is one of the many quilts. Every single child at A Child's Haven that we have served has received a quilt made by these two beautiful people. You're welcome. So now I'm going to turn it over to Eva's daughter, who would like to say a few words in memory.
Well, Mr. Wilkerson, I'm with you on the public speaking. I don't do this very often, so forgive my paper. We have a lot of Marines in the room today, it seems like, and aren't we glad for our troops? So forgive my reading and my white paper. I have had the honor of handing out the Eva P. Hunt Award for many years. I must say this year is a special meaning to me. My family and I saw firsthand what one person can do for those who cannot speak for themselves, our children. From the very first Christmas party at a small church off of North Main, where the children were terrified of Santa. Eventually they warmed up. This incredible program is testimony to all the people who work and support a Child's Haven. And thank you for these people who volunteer and work so hard. And that tiny church first Christmas party with, I think, 10 children, to what it is today is just incredible and amazing. And I'm so proud of my mother. We all are. Her grandchildren and my brother and I are so proud of my mother. So I'm so proud of Ken and Joanne for what they've done, and everybody past who have won this award in honor of my mom. Thank you.
Hey guys, usually by now I'm telling some of my little friends to take a deep breath, to go, all right? So my coworkers Tanya and Latrice have mentioned before how data and helping with families, intensive services to our families, help to make a difference within our children. And they really are intensive services. Now, and I worked along with Latrice with a child that was really, really aggressive, and he did make remarkable progress in our time here. And I'm Noe Reza, and I'm a clinical treatment lead here at a Child's Haven. And part of my job entitles doing assessments on the kids, which then goes to Tanya to do all the data and analytics that goes along with that as well. But in the classroom, I work more directly closely with all of our children, and I also stay in contact with all the FSCs, all the family support counselors, like Latrice, and we give them suggestions on like what's working in the classroom, and also so what they can do in the home as well. Now, my role here at Child's Haven has offered me a direct impact on the children, and I want to share with you a story of this one little girl that came with a background of severe neglect, but also other developmental issues as well. Now, part of her issues were that she had very severe tantrums, and when I mean severe, like my ears sometimes ring from some of the other screams that I hear. But after some of her tantrums, and she would calm down, and I would tell her, it's okay, take a deep breath. But then afterwards, I would also console her and tell her, it's okay. Come here. You're safe. And I'll continue to do that during her stay with us. But then something remarkable happened, friends. On her last week, she independently came up to me and told me, Mr. Noe, can I give you a hug? I was like, yeah. She gives me a hug and tells me, Mr. Noe, I'm safe. And it still gives me chills just remembering about that right now. And part of that is just some of the work that we do here. And it's just stories like this and the collaboration with everybody else, it just makes it worth it working here at a Child's Haven. And we can see some of that collaboration here in this next video that is presented.
My name is Jennifer Osgood, and I have had the honor of being the board president this year at a Child's Haven. I'm glad to be with you this morning, and I would like to take a moment to thank all of you for attending today and for your support of a Child's Haven. It has been an honor to serve as president this year and to represent this amazing organization that does so much good in this community. This year, the board has been engaged and focused on identifying solutions to best position the organization towards achieving long-term sustainability. We know that by working together and each giving our individual skills and talents, that we can work towards a common goal to make a difference to the lives of these children. We know that planning now and the things that we do today will impact their lives tomorrow and for years to come. On behalf of the Board of Directors and our Advisory Council, I want to express our sincere appreciation to the staff of a Child's Haven for all their hard work and dedication, and to our supporters, partners, and donors for your ongoing investment and commitment to our community. And also thank you, Dick, for that amazing speech. It is because of all of you that we are able to make a difference in the lives of those we serve and to help these children to unlock their potential and grow into healthy and productive adults. I have the great pleasure of introducing the children of a Child's Haven today, and their performance will be followed by Tim Pecoraro, who at one time could have easily been one of the children at our facility. Please help me welcome the children of a Child's Haven into the room. Thank you.
I mean, isn't that interesting? L-I-G-H-T, I have a light inside of me, right? Yeah, they need to know that, don't they? Just like you do. Why don't you look at someone and say, you got a light inside of you too. Look at them. Come on, participate. We're here. It's in the morning. You're here. First of all, I get firsthand experience to witness and see what actually takes place. I have the privilege of working with this amazing organization every single week. What you're hearing about the things that they do, I see it, I witness it. It's almost like being in the kitchen when a great chef is making the meal. I see them do that with their programming, their planning, their processes, the way they're looking to continually improve. The people are in love with what they do. Similar to when I read about like Mother Teresa when she was holding a child that had leprosy and a man walked up to her and said, you couldn't pay me to do that. And she looked at him and said, you couldn't pay me either. These folks are dedicated and committed, and it moves me. And let me tell you why it moves me. My life is one with a single mother raising 5 of her brothers as a child of herself and having 2 of her own, and me being one of them. Living in the inner city, nothing but abuse, neglect, violence, despair, brokenness, not knowing what to do, when you're going to eat. Tuna fish and crackers was our caviar. But my mom had grit. My mom worked 2 and 3 jobs. I could hear her crying at night. Didn't know why. Christmas time, we were used to having someone break into our home and take our gifts, so we called him Ghetto Claus. That was into an apartment where we lived. I'm not trying to make you feel sad. I'm trying to let you know that today I'm a people person. That's all I do is live my life for people. I'm a leader, a communicator, and an artist. I was able to stop being a chameleon who took color, who tried to just figure out how to live, because I met a man named Sluggo who was a coach, who took a little time and bought me some cleats and told me you can channel whatever's going on inside of you, this silence that you hold and then you release with violence. It can be done differently. To another man named Sam Winger, who told me that I was more than I had become. To a gentleman from Missouri named Harry Ramey, who touched me on my head and said, we're not the same, but we need the same thing. We need to feel value. We need to live. There's things inside of you that this world needs that come from you, and only from you. You are unique, like your fingerprint. 99.9% of you and I in this room is exactly the same according to our DNA, but 0.1% makes us unmistakably us. That 0.1% is where your unmistakable self is. And that L-I-G-H-T that those children were just singing about, they're talking about the unmistakable potential that is yet to be realized. They're wondering if their possibility will turn to a probability that will turn to an actuality, a reality for something that they can do. Every one of you in this room know what it's like. You have a story to tell, as you heard, Mrs. Cleary, or a mom, or a dad, or a friend. You know what? You equally, too, have a story of disappointment, shame, embarrassment, frustration. It's not about all of those things. It's that we are more than we become. We need access to these opportunities. So from a Sluggo to a Sam Winger to a Harry Ramey, then to a John Maxwell at the age of 22 who I met. And he was my first mentor who challenged me to find out if I really could be a leader and help unlock people. So I took him seriously, quit my job, and started working for a nonprofit. And I did it for 10 years of my life to discover the greatest joy ever is to see people, no matter what condition, no matter where they come from, no matter what their story is, that there is no best pedigree, there is no greatest person, that we all can be better. We all have the potential to be unlocked. Not pick locks, not breaking and entering, literally taking the tools to unlock people. That's why you're here. You're here because you have the ability to help their future. You have the potential key to help them unlock what it is that they can do next. I am standing here today as a kid who my mom would have loved this program because my program was somewhere outside of my home that she usually had to come find us. But not just for the child, but for the family. And because of the child making the difference in the family that can make a difference, the community can see better things, to see greater things. We can be more, they can be more. It's that light. Look at someone and say, do you care? Look at someone and say, do you care? Can you add value? And can I trust you? That's what those children are saying when they look at you. When Noe told the story of the little girl who said, I'm safe. When those kids are engaging someone, they're saying, do you care about me? Can you help me? And can I trust you? That's what a Child Haven is doing daily. And going into the families and doing that daily. I want to encourage you to do that. I get to live an extraordinary, different life. It's not perfect, full of flaws. But my gosh, I am so much more than I've become, and I get to do it every single day because someone did something else for me. Would you be willing to do that? Would you be willing to connect with this vision and be a part of it? Would you be willing to understand and know that when you do this, it is going to make the greatest difference? And I want you to know that as you consider making this gift, and I want to make sure I get this right, to a Child's Haven, and thanks to the generosity of the John I. Smith Charities, each gift of $1,000 or more will be matched up to $50,000. So now this is a group who wants to unlock tomorrow's potential today. Will you join them? Will you help them live that L-I-G-H-T, I've got a light inside of me? Be a part of it. Join in. Unlock tomorrow's potential for them today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. I mean, the music, the videos, hearing from Dick this morning, just an amazing morning to talk about a Child's Haven. And I do want to let everyone know, as you're considering your gift this morning, and I hope you really will consider it, think about the children you saw there on the stage a little while ago and the light inside each of them. And you could see each of their personalities come through. And you know, as Tim was talking about the potential that they have and unlocking their futures, really think about what each of those children can become and the great things they can do for our community as they come down the road, and that one day they'll be sitting at this breakfast and they'll be continuing on and doing great things in our community. And that's what we want. And they're just some of the children who are at a Child's Haven who are helped each and every day and have been helped over the past 26 years. So amazing, amazing work. I personally want to say also, the Lehmans, incredible. I had the opportunity, as Lori mentioned, to do a story with them about their quilting. They have a small apartment and they literally get up every single morning and quilt all day long. They have an assembly line. The two of them work together. They stitch every stitch. And it's all from the heart. And you can see the emotion for them and what it means to them to give that gift of warmth and love to those children. It's happened again and again, and it is truly a gift. So thank you to them for everything that they've done. And I had the honor of doing really one of the favorite stories I've ever done in all of my years of television, to spend some time with them and to tell their story. So thank you. Thank you so much. Please consider giving this morning. I know this is a generous group. That's the beautiful thing about Greenville County. This is a special place. You know, we hear so many negative things. This is a beautiful place. The people in this room, the people in our community are giving. And a Child's Haven is so worthy of every dollar we can give, every ounce of support we can give, every minute that we can go volunteer, anything we can do. So please consider, even after you leave today, to be advocates for the work being done by a Child's Haven, to continue that messaging on into the community and to let people know the work that's happening. You'll see a card like this at your place. Please take a look at this. This is an opportunity to give. There's a way to also text to give, which is an easy thing to do. If you don't want to write a check, you can just text right from your phone. And know that everyone, Lori and everyone at a Child's Haven, and you heard from several of the employees there who work directly with the kids, they are stewards of every dollar that truly is making a difference. So as you give, please give generously this morning. And thank you, too, for your time, for spending part of your morning with us, and for hearing more about the work of a Child's Haven. And please continue that communication out into the community. Let people know about it. Let people be proud of the work that's being done, that was started by Eva P. Hunt 26 years ago and continues so strongly today. So thanks so much again for being here, for your time, for your generosity. Stay safe, stay warm this weekend, stay off the roads, and thank you so much for being with us. Have a great, great morning.